Reports are coming in that the Al-Qassam Brigades have claimed responsibility for a powerful ambush that allegedly destroyed an Israeli Merkava. If true, this would mark one of the most significant attacks in the West Bank in years. What exactly happened? How has Israel responded? And could this spark a wider escalation? Let's dive into the full story. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's top story is an extraordinary development from Jenin, a city already known as a hotspot for clashes in the West Bank. The Al-Qassam Brigades, the military wing of Hamas, have claimed that they successfully carried out a major ambush on Israeli forces operating in the area. According to their statement, the ambush involved the use of powerful roadside explosives and gunfire that allegedly disabled and destroyed a Merkava tank, one of Israel's most advanced armored vehicles. Footage shared on social media shows heavy smoke rising from a vehicle, though independent verification is still pending. This incident comes at a time of heightened tension across the West Bank, with increased raids by the Israeli Defense Forces aimed at arresting suspected militants. If confirmed, the destruction of a Merkava tank would be a rare and significant blow to the IDF, raising questions about Israel's security strategy in the West Bank. Over the next few minutes, we'll break down what happened in Jenin, analyze the claim made by the Al-Qassam Brigades, examine Israel's official response, look at eyewitness testimonies, and discuss what this could mean for the future of the conflict. Make sure you stay until the end, because the implications of this attack could reshape military tactics on both sides. Initial reports suggest the incident occurred in the early morning hours when Israeli armored units entered the Jenin refugee camp as part of a counter-terrorism raid. Local sources claim that fighters from the Al-Qassam Brigades had prepared an ambush in advance, using a combination of improvised explosive devices, IEDs, and small arms fire. The first explosion is said to have hit a lead vehicle in the convoy, followed by additional blasts targeting support vehicles. Gunfire then erupted from multiple directions, forcing Israeli troops to take cover and call in reinforcements. According to statements released by Al-Qassam, their fighters successfully destroyed a Merkava tank and inflicted casualties on Israeli soldiers. Videos shared online show plumes of smoke and what appears to be a damaged armored vehicle, but analysts caution that the footage is grainy and may not conclusively prove the destruction of a tank. The Israeli Defense Forces confirmed there was an attack, but have so far only reported light injuries and damage to military vehicles. The IDF has not acknowledged the loss of a Merkava tank. This discrepancy has fueled debate on social media, with both sides presenting competing narratives. The situation in Jenin remained tense for several hours after the attack, with sporadic clashes continuing and residents reporting the sound of drones overhead. The Israeli Defense Forces have responded to the incident with increased operations in Jenin. Shortly after the ambush, the IDF deployed additional armored vehicles, bulldozers, and surveillance drones to secure the area and search for militants involved. Military helicopters were seen hovering above the camp, and reports indicate that precision drone strikes targeted suspected militant positions. Israeli officials have promised a decisive response, suggesting that more raids and arrests could follow in the coming days. The IDF spokesperson said that any attack on Israeli forces would be met with overwhelming force to ensure deterrence and to prevent similar incidents in the future. At the same time, Israeli media outlets have been cautious, with some analysts suggesting that the claim of a destroyed Merkava tank could be propaganda aimed at boosting morale among Palestinian fighters. Still, military commentators are concerned that militants in the West Bank appear to be using more sophisticated tactics, including coordinated ambushes and powerful explosives capable of threatening even heavily armored vehicles. This could mark a shift in the nature of the conflict in the West Bank, making future operations riskier for ground troops. Israeli security forces have also reportedly expanded their intelligence gathering efforts, monitoring communications and movement in and around Jenin to track down those responsible. In their official statement, the Al-Qassam Brigades celebrated the attack as a major victory and proof that resistance in the West Bank remains strong. They claimed their fighters waited for the Israeli column to enter a pre-selected kill zone before detonating explosives placed along the road. According to their account, the initial blast disabled the tank's movement system, after which additional fighters opened fire with anti-armor weapons to ensure total destruction. The statement declared that the ambush sent a clear message to Israel that its forces are not safe in Palestinian territory and warned of more attacks if raids continue. Al-Qassam media outlets have also released stylized videos praising the fighters involved and encouraging others to join the resistance. While such statements are often designed for psychological impact, analysts note that the detailed description of the attack suggests significant planning and preparation. If true, this would demonstrate that Palestinian groups in the West Bank are learning from battlefield experiences in Gaza and applying similar tactics in Jenin. This raises serious questions about whether the conflict could intensify further and potentially spread to other parts of the West Bank. Residents of Jenin reported waking up to loud explosions followed by intense gunfire that lasted several minutes. Some described seeing armored vehicles retreating from narrow streets as smoke filled the air. Local medics confirmed that several people were injured, including at least 2 civilians caught in the crossfire. Ambulances rushed to the scene, and videos posted online show paramedics evacuating the wounded under fire. Many residents said they were forced to stay inside their homes as fighting raged nearby. The refugee camp, known for its dense layout, became a battleground as Israeli bulldozers tore through barricades and fighters engaged from rooftops. Human rights organizations have expressed concern over the potential for civilian casualties in such operations, warning that heavy clashes in populated areas could have devastating humanitarian consequences. Eyewitnesses also reported power cuts and disruptions to internet service during the operation, possibly as part of Israeli measures to limit communication from inside the camp. These first-hand accounts paint a picture of a highly volatile situation where civilians face enormous risks during each military raid. The Merkava tank is considered one of the most advanced main battle tanks in the world, known for its superior armor, firepower, and active protection systems. If the claim of its destruction in Jenin is accurate, it would represent a major psychological and tactical blow to the IDF. Destroying a Merkava is not easy, especially in the West Bank, where fighters have limited heavy weaponry compared to Gaza. This suggests that militants either acquired more powerful explosives or found vulnerabilities in the tank's urban deployment. Military experts say this incident could force Israel to rethink its strategy in dense urban combat zones, where tanks and armored vehicles are vulnerable to ambushes from elevated positions and narrow streets. In previous conflicts, Israel has relied heavily on its armored corps to spearhead operations, but repeated losses could shift tactics toward air power and special forces raids instead. Such a change would reduce direct exposure, but could increase the risk of civilian casualties due to airstrikes. For Palestinian factions, even a symbolic victory like this boosts morale and sends a message that Israeli forces can be challenged despite their technological superiority. News of the attack has spread rapidly across the Middle East, with reactions pouring in from political groups and media outlets. Supporters of the Palestinian cause have praised the ambush as a legitimate act of resistance against occupation, while Israeli leaders have condemned it as terrorism and vowed retaliation. Regional powers such as Egypt, Qatar, and Jordan are likely monitoring developments closely as a wider escalation could threaten fragile security arrangements in the West Bank. There is also concern that similar attacks might inspire copycat operations in other cities, forcing Israel to divert more resources to the area. Politically, this incident could influence ongoing debates inside Israel about how to handle security threats from the West Bank. Some politicians may push for tougher measures, while others warn that increasing pressure could spark a full-scale uprising. Internationally, the incident risks drawing condemnation from human rights organizations and could complicate diplomatic efforts aimed at lowering tensions between Israel and Palestinian factions. The international community has responded with cautious statements urging de-escalation. The United Nations called for restraint on both sides and reminded Israel of its obligation to minimize harm to civilians during military operations. The European Union expressed concern that such incidents risk further destabilizing the region and urged renewed efforts toward peace talks. The United States reiterated its support for Israel's right to self-defense, but encouraged Israeli authorities to conduct a transparent investigation into what happened. Human rights groups are calling for independent verification of the events, particularly because of the claim that a Merkava tank was destroyed. They argue that if militants are now capable of disabling Israeli heavy armor in the West Bank, the conflict could enter a more dangerous phase, leading to higher casualties on both sides. Global media outlets are covering the story extensively, with many waiting for visual confirmation before declaring the incident as fact. This international attention means that how Israel and Palestinian factions handle the aftermath will shape global opinion in the coming days. As of the latest updates, the situation in Jenin remains tense, but relatively calm compared to the immediate aftermath of the attack. Israeli forces are still operating in and around the refugee camp, conducting house-to-house searches and clearing debris left by the explosions. Drones continue to fly overhead, suggesting that intelligence gathering efforts are ongoing. Palestinian groups have warned of more ambushes if Israeli raids do not stop, raising fears that clashes could resume at any moment. The Israeli government is expected to release a detailed report soon, which may include confirmation or denial of the Merkava tank claim. Until then, conflicting narratives dominate the media space, with both sides trying to control the story. Residents of Jenin remain on edge, fearing that a larger scale operation could be launched as retaliation. The next 48 hours will be crucial in determining whether this incident becomes the spark for a wider escalation across the West Bank or remains a localized confrontation. This brings us to the end of today's in-depth report on the Jenin attack. To summarize, the Al-Qassam Brigades have claimed responsibility for a major ambush that allegedly destroyed an Israeli Merkava tank, a claim that, if true, would be one of the most significant incidents in the West Bank in years. The Israeli military has acknowledged clashes, but has not confirmed the tank's destruction, leaving the situation open to interpretation. What is clear is that tensions in Jenin and across the West Bank are at a boiling point, and both sides are preparing for what could come next. Will Israel escalate its operations in response? Will Palestinian factions carry out more attacks? And how will the international community react if the claims are verified? These are the questions we'll be watching closely in the days ahead. Thank you for watching this detailed analysis. If you found this video informative, please like and share it so others can stay informed. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update on major developments in the region. Your support helps us keep bringing you fast, accurate, and reliable news. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next report.